Hello everyone. Today we're going to go over how to create popular link icons for R2S 2. The two things that you're going to need is you're going to need Adobe Illustrator and you need some internet browser. So I'm already logged in to Adobe Illustrator. So to start off, I'm just going to click this open button and we're going to navigate to the iDrive. Just make sure that you have your iDrive mapped, and it can be any of these. They're all the same here. So iDrive, BSC reports, TD Next homepage, popular link icons, and then we're going to go to Illustrator files. And if we scroll down a little bit, right here, we're going to have a popular link template. So we're going to go ahead and open that guy up. Okay, so for testing purposes, let's go ahead and make a popular icon. Let's say we're making a popular icon for a department that has a new ice cream, and we're going to create this ice cream popular link. Some navigational tools for Adobe Illustrator. If you use your scroll bar and you scroll up and down, it'll do normal up and down. If you hold the Control key, it'll move side to side. And if you hold the Alt key, it'll zoom in and out. So those are some navigational tools that you'll need to know for Adobe Illustrator. Also, when we look at this template, it's got this grid line, right? And this grid line helps us to know what style we need for our icons. For the text, I'm going to highlight it with my mouse here. If you follow this grid, that's where we want the text to stay in. So we don't want it to go too far left or too far right. We want it right in these boxes. You can see right here the L and the P in this example hang over the line a little bit. That's okay. We just don't want to move this text box too far up or too far down. And the template is positioned correctly here. For the actual image, we want to make sure that it stays within these top two boxes here. Again, not too far to the right, not too far to the left. We want it just right in here, symmetrical. Perfect. So now we can see that the background here is black, and black is not a popular icon image that we have for a background. So if I have my selector tool up here in the top left selected, if I click on this black background, it'll have it selected, and you can see there's like these circles and it'll show you that it's selected. And over here on the appearance fill, we can see that it's black. So if I click on this black square, it'll have a bunch of different colors pop up on this color palette. This folder down here are the BSC colors that you will use for these icons. The only exception is the red right here at where I'm pointing at right here. And these are only for emergencies. So you won't use this red very often, but you'll use these colors down here a lot. For this example, because everyone loves ice cream, it's got to be an emergency that people get ice cream. We're going to have this background be red for fun. All right, so now we have this background all selected correctly, and now I'm going to edit the text to say ice cream. So if I click on this a couple times, we can try to get the cursor in there, and you can see this text is selected. And so sometimes it takes a little while, and then we can get that cursor in there. So then again, I just delete the text. I do not reposition the text box location. And so I'll just type in the best ice cream. Cool. And again, the T and the B go a little above. That's totally fine. I didn't rearrange the text box location. That looks great. So I'm going to click back on my selector here. And again, if you double click this text, it'll automatically tell you that it's text. You can see it changed here. And if you just kind of click on it a couple times, it'll highlight it. And then I usually use my arrow keys to get to my cursor to change that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click back on my selector. So now what we want to do is we want to get a actual image in here. So what I do is I just go to Google Images and I just typed in ice cream icon and clicked on the images link here. And again, just remember, if you alter the actual image enough, it's not plagiarism. So as long as you change colors and change different things, it's totally fine if you take it from Google Images. So I'm going to just kind of look and see which one I like. Usually when you're picking out icons, you don't want them too detailed, because when the icon's actually created, it's kind of small. And so those details will be kind of lost and it won't look as good. So let's say, okay, we like this icon right here. I'm going to go ahead and right click it and click copy image. I'm going to go back to my Illustrator and I'm going to do Control V to paste and then zoom out a little bit. Okay, so this is exactly what I wanted to show you guys. Some images do not work and it does this big black box. If it does this box, that means you cannot use that particular image. So you just do a Control Z to undo that. Okay, so some of these images can be different formats. There's PNG, there's JPEGs, SVGs, and stuff like that. Typically, the ones that work best for Adobe Illustrator are SVG files or vector files. So then I'm going to look at this one. This one looks pretty basic. It looks pretty good. I'm going to right-click it, copy image, go back to Adobe Illustrator, Control V to paste it. And now we have this image and it's not a black box, so it looks good. Now what we want to do is let's see if I can zoom in a little bit here. See how it's kind of pixelated right here? We don't want that. We want everything to be nice and smooth. So I have the image selected. If you go over on the Properties tab, you can click on Image Trace and you can do low fidelity or high fidelity. I usually do low fidelity. So that traced it, and now you can see it's not pixelated anymore. And then we're going to click Expand, and Expand broke this image into many different layers. So if I click on the Layers tab up here in the top right corner, and I click on some drop-down arrows, you can see I have the image selected because all these blue boxes are there. And these are the different layers for this ice cream image. So it's got this little eye icon right here. If you click on that, it'll unhighlight that particular part of the image. So if I click on this, see how this down here goes black? That means if I were to remove this, it would be black. So what I do is I kind of like play around with it and I kind of look and say, okay, what parts do I want? What parts do I don't want? And kind of get an idea. So playing with this, I do not want this white background here. So you can see I can play with it and I can see, okay, this one is the background. So when the eye is showing, if you follow that same row over to this circle, when I click on that, there's a blue box. So if I have that blue box selected and I click delete, it deletes that part of the image. So then I use kind of play with it, like I said, and play with that eye, follow the row, click on the round circle, delete, and now we have that background removed. Okay, and the rest of it, I think I want to keep just because we want to make sure the icon looks nice. Like we could get rid of this and just show this, but I like the outline personally. So a lot of it's just kind of personal preference. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go back here to properties and we can see that this color, if we just move that over there, the color isn't going to fit very good because the style guidelines for icons is you want a white border, and if it has color on the inside, it has to be the background. So if I click on this as this fill, and I can change this fill to white, and it's going to change that whole image to white, which is what we want. And if I double click down here and I can select the inside here, I want that to be the same color as the background so it looks like it's just kind of hidden, that there's no actual layer here. So I've selected that red because that's the color of our background. And then we want to select this bottom part, and sometimes I have to click a bunch of times, but it'll eventually get to it. And then we want this to be the red as well. Okay. So that looks pretty good. So then if I drag this over, these red will just blend in with the red will just blend in with the background, and that will look pretty nice. So then I'm just gonna resize it down. I'm gonna hold the control key and kind of move over And I'm going to hold the Alt key and zoom in. And then we got this pretty good looking image. And I'm just going to kind of play around with it. And I want the bottom to be there, and I want the top to be there. Again, you don't have to have it exactly top and bottom like that. Oh, I'm going over the line a little bit there. Okay, maybe do it just a little short. That's fine. We just gotta kind of play with it a little bit there. That looks better. And then I just kind of play with it and try to make it look nice. And we'll just stick with that. So now we can see this image isn't symmetrical. If I move it around a little bit, you can see those purple lines there at the bottom. So you see those purple lines that says, okay, it's equal space below. And now I know that that is perfectly symmetrical. Okay, beautiful. So now we have this icon all created. However, one thing I probably should have done earlier is I should have saved this image correctly. So right now you can see I'm still in the template. So if I click File, Save, it's going to rewrite over the template. We do not want to do that. So something I should have done earlier on is if I click on File, I want to do a Save As. And this should be the first thing you do. So I did this Save As, and we'll just rename this to be ice cream test. And if it was for outreach, you'd save it in the outreach folder, or QA, or different things like that. We're just going to save it right here. Okay, so if I click save, it's Illustrator's just saying, hey, this is going to be an Illustrator file. You just click OK, and now you can see it's saved as ice cream test. Cool. So this icon, it's all created. We did a save as. It's not saved over the template. That's very important. And now we need to make this into an image that we can actually export into an HTML module. Because you cannot use a Illustrator file, you need to use a PNG for that. So how we're going to do that is we're going to click on File, and we're going to go down here to Export, and Export as for Screens. And again, how we have the template set up is it by default goes to the PNG. I'm going to save it actually in a different location than the default here. I'm going to go here to the iDrive, BC Reports, TD Next homepage, popular link icons. And before, when we opened it, we went to Illustrator files. We don't want to do that because this is going to be a PNG. So I'm actually going to save it right in here directly. And again, if it was in an outreach, if it was for that department or housing or any of these, you want to save it in that folder. So I'm just going to use this folder. So I'm going to select folder. And it's already got that selected. It's got a PNG. Most of this you can ignore because the template has everything saved by default. And then we're going to click export right here. And you can see Illustrator automatically opened that up. It is going to be in this 1X folder. And so you can see like, oh, well, these other ones, like, how do I know which one is mine? Well, we can see the date right here, and we can see that this is the one that we have created. It's going to be by default titled template because that's the one that we opened up is the template. If I opened up like, like a financial aid popular icon, it would say financial aid here. So if I double click that, if you're ever unsure, you can always double click it. And there's our image. And that looks actually pretty good. So we have that image all hooked up right. And so we're going to right click this and rename it. I'm going to say ice cream. And it's in the 1X folder. I don't really want it in the 1X folder. So I'm going to drag it into the popular links one. And then we should see ice cream right here. So cool. So that's exactly how you create a popular icon in Adobe Illustrator. Just remember, as you're creating them, you're going to have questions pop up. That's totally fine. You're always welcome to ask anyone on your management staff, and they'll be happy to help you. So yep, that's how we create a popular icon, and this ice cream icon is ready to be put into an HTML module. Thank you.